你好，我叫彭中伟，我是 Snickerdoodle Labs 的 CEO，毕业于清华大学。Hello, my name is Jonathan Padilla. I'm the CEO of Snickerdoodle Labs located here in Silicon Valley. And I'm deeply honored to be speaking with you today. I would like to thank Ifan and his entire team for organizing this conference and for inviting me to speak about non-fungible tokens and the world we can create together if we leverage our collective imagination. For the past 5 years, I have been active in the blockchain industry. And though it is a relatively short period of time, so much has changed. But it's only the beginning. The work we have in front of us is still in its infancy, and we are only just taking our first steps out into a brighter future. While Bitcoin and Ethereum have proven resilient over the past 5 years, and their protocols have become synonymous with blockchain, it would be short-sighted to define them as the future of this radically evolving sector. From the work of my colleague David Mazieres, who designed Stellar, to the work of folks like Silvio Macaulay at Algorand, and the amazing teams at companies like Solana, Polkadot, and Hedera Hashgraph, all of these point to some of the best minds in the world building products for a better world. The blockchain industry is no longer just looking to the stars, but building the infrastructure and capacity to reach them. In the last 2 years alone, decentralized finance has ushered in a new era that seeks to open capital markets to the masses and offer the promise of a hand up for those yearning for the opportunity to build a better tomorrow. A year ago, non-fungible tokens were a niche field in the blockchain space. But in a matter of months, they have had a huge impact on the worlds of art, international sports, and video games, unlocking a pent-up consumer thirst for more immersive experiences and, more critically, ownership of those experiences. The aspiration behind Snickerdoodle is this deeply held belief that mainstream adoption of blockchain will fundamentally alter how consumers interact with the internet, and that interaction will bend towards a world where consumers are empowered to control their digital identities. As we enter the world of Web3, the virtue of the individual cannot be overstated. Web 1 offered a promise of a new world that would bring together everyone from a global community of the curious to parents and children who just wanted a simpler way to say hello. Web 2 saw the centralization of this dream and the creation of a digital oligarchy that has invited criticism from civil libertarians and policymakers alike. But Web 3, with its focus on decentralization and the potential to provide individuals with the tools and structures to directly engage with each other, offers an opportunity for reinvention, a once-in-a-generation chance that stains the status quo and establish a brand new paradigm. Snickerdoodle is leading that paradigm shift, developing novel infrastructure that will put consumers in control of their data and then building the tools to help them monetize what will be the most important commodity of this century. Non-fungible tokens are so much more than art sold at Christie's and Sotheby's, or trading cards for professional athletes. As we imagine a world where enterprise adopts NFTs as part of a long-term strategy to directly interact with consumers, the potential is limited only by our collective imagination. From land records, licenses, digital notaries, academic records, and credentials, government will use NFTs to streamline critical documentation and information. Consumers will benefit as NFTs of their credentials, skills, and even academic records will break down barriers and create a more dynamic and fair labor market in the process. Large enterprises are already taking the first steps into this space with the tokenization of music rights. And at Snickerdoodle, we hope to lead the charge into Web3 advertising, putting businesses in direct contact with countless consumers. It's not just large business, but small family-run businesses that can benefit from this technology. As we imagine alliances across town squares, villages, and others who can now cost-effectively reach consumers and tempt them with the promise of a good meal or high-quality craftsmanship. Nonprofits and civic organizations can leverage NFTs to engage volunteers and gamify social cooperation so that we can use technology for the benefit of all communities. At Snickerdoodle, we believe values will create value. That if we put the individual first with dignity, respect, and transparency, that our corporate ethos and world-class technology can open new pathways for openness and interoperability, for curiosity over closed-mindedness, and especially for those in the blockchain space, humility over hubris. Humility is such an important quality in entrepreneurship. The courage to admit that we may not have all the answers is a rare occurrence. We can ask questions, we can learn from peers and mentors and friends who may think differently than we do. For those in the blockchain space, talking to regulars may be a novel idea, but it's an important one, and one that requires the humility to know that existing systems do exist. If I may speak candidly, though, the U.S.-China relationship is one that may benefit from humility in thought and action. This tense global bifurcation of relations is leading to a geopoliticization of value-neutral technology such as the BSN. Today, officials in the House of Representatives see Chinese-led blockchain technology as an existential threat to U.S. values of openness, fairness, and meritocracy. Instead of seeing opportunities for a new wave of innovation, officials are framing the BSN as an effort to centralize oversight of financial data, giving it an unprecedented degree of control over the Chinese business and economy. But there must be an effort to push back against these narratives that all but guarantee competition. Cooperation on the challenges in front of both the United States and China as how we must most expeditiously tackle the horrors of global climate change, uplift billions from poverty, and ensure a more prosperous future for all, regardless of nationality. Steve Schwartzman, who I consider a mentor, has been an exemplar for how private sector actors can work to nudge public policy and dialogue forward. In the blockchain sector in particular, there is so much immense opportunity to leverage emerging technologies to incentivize alignment and alliance. Failure to work together will lead to the creation of a disjointed and disconnected system that limits interoperability and holds back the promise of Web3 that can unite all of us. In the coming years, Snickerdoodle hopes to be a company that speaks humbly, listens earnestly, and acts to break down the barriers across culture, geography, and time. We look forward to sharing that journey with all of you, and we are immensely grateful for the time and opportunity to speak to you here today. Thank you.